My friend, have you ever felt like you didn't really do that much, and yet you're tired? Not the kind of tired your body feels, but a heaviness somewhere deep inside that you can't quite explain. You sit down to do something important, but just a few minutes later your mind has already wandered away. It goes back to something someone said. It runs ahead to something that hasn't even happened yet. It clings to a tiny sound somewhere out there. And then another day passes. You didn't really move forward, but somehow you feel like you've been running all day. Maybe you're not tired because you're doing too much. Maybe you're tired because you've never truly rested within yourself. Once upon a time, in a quiet village resting between soft, misty hills, there lived a young man named Elias. Elias was an apprentice in the village's woodwork shop. His hands were skillful, his mind was quick. Everyone believed that one day he would become the finest craftsman. But only Elias knew. Something inside him was never quite still. Every time he picked up his chisel, his mind wasn't there. A distant laugh from the market, and he imagined himself among the crowd. A breeze through the window, and he drifted into dreams of faraway places. He started many things, but rarely finished any of them. In the corner of his workshop, chairs without legs, half-carved statues sat quietly, gathering dust. Elias was always busy, but never complete. On certain quiet nights, when the entire village had fallen asleep, he would sit alone in his workshop. And for the first time, he could not escape himself. Something is slipping away, but I don't know what I've lost. One early winter morning, his father placed a hand on his shoulder. You do not lack ability. Your mind simply does not stay. He led Elias up a narrow path behind the village to an old wooden house resting quietly on the hillside. Inside, there was nothing but stillness. A wooden wheel turned slowly. Clay moved gently under aged hands. The old potter asked, "What have you brought with you?" Elias whispered. "My mind never stays still." The potter filled a small bowl with water to the very brim and placed it into Elias's hands. "Walk around the hill and come back." The path was not long, but each step felt heavier. A bird crossed the sky. Elias looked up. The water trembled. A single drop fell. The wind moved through the trees. What is the point of this? Another moment, another drop. When he returned, the bowl was no longer full. The potter asked softly, "While you were walking, where were you?" "I don't know." The water did not fall on its own. Each time you left, you let it go. The world will always move. Sounds will always arise. But there is one thing you have never truly tried. Stay. The next morning, Elias returned to his workshop. His mind still wandered. But this time, he noticed, and instead of following it, he returned. No force, no frustration, just returning. To the chisel, to the wood, to his breath. The first days were difficult. His mind resisted. It wanted to run. But Elias no longer believed every thought. He simply stayed. Day by day, there were small moments when everything became still. Not because the world had stopped, but because he no longer left. My friend, if you wish to try, begin with something very small. You don't need to change your life. Just the next time you hold something, a cup of tea, a pen, or even your own breath, stay with it, just 1 minute. And if your mind wanders, don't judge it. Simply come back. Winter passed. In that small workshop, the unfinished things slowly disappeared. Not because Elias worked faster, but because he no longer left what he had begun. When people stood near him, something softened, as if he carried a quiet that had never been there before. My friend, a disciplined mind is not a mind that never wanders. It is a mind that knows how to return. Return when it drifts away. Return when the world becomes too loud. Return to yourself. And perhaps peace is not something you need to find. It has always been there, waiting for you to stay long enough to notice. Today, just ask yourself, how many times did I leave? Not to judge, only to begin returning. Remember, peace begins the moment you choose not to leave yourself anymore. Walk gently, my friend. I'll see you in the next story.